Alright, how's everybody doing? I'm actually out checking a barley field, one of the last barley fields that we still need to cut. I've already explained that stuff in the other little video, but we are going to talk about my trip that I went on. So I've been doing this trip since sophomore, junior year of high school with my dad. My buddy has gone with us the last few years. We haven't done this trip since 2019 was the last time we went up. It is about a 12-hour run to get to where we're going. We're going to a fairly remote location, and we actually stayed at like one of the northern parts of the area, which makes it kind of a longer run to get to certain fishing areas compared to where we've stayed in the past. I did shoot several videos up there. My plan was to do 2 episodes, about half hour each. I had to cut out a lot of video due to the fact that there's lots of copyright music in the background. The ferry dock, there's announcements coming on halfway through, so there's just a couple pictures here and there from it. Also, every time I tried to shoot a video when we were in the ferry dock going over, I kept getting interrupted, so there is no videos from that part. So I came to the decision, because we've been doing this trip for so long, I'm going to include pictures and videos of past trips, because I've got some cool pictures, I've got some cool videos. I've got a picture of my tyee, which is a tyee is about a 30-pound plus king salmon. My buddy got into the tyee club this last trip. He caught a 30.1 pound chinook. I caught a weird salmon, and I'll tell you the story here in a second on this last trip. But like I said, I've got pictures of bears, I got pictures of whales, I've got video of whales. I might have a video of a bear somewhere. Black bears. We don't see grizzlies. I thought I had a picture of a herd of elk from up there. I guess not, unless it's on one of my old laptops. So, because of the amount of footage I've had to cut due to copyright music and other stuff going on, I shot a video in the wind where it didn't feel like it was blowing that hard, and when I listened back to it, you couldn't hear anything I was saying, because I also forgot my microphone on that trip. And I swear I packed it, but apparently I didn't. So yeah, I cut quite a bit out. But here's the story. So we're fishing this one area. It's kind of popular. We usually do well in this spot. There's another boat in the group that we fish with that does insanely well in this spot, but they can't seem to do well in other spots. Where there's another boat in our group that ended up doing insanely well in a certain spot this year versus one of their usual spots, and we've always done well outside by the lighthouse, which we actually still did really good this year. But we didn't really, because we're going up there, we're going for link cod, halibut, chinook salmon, coho salmon, pink salmon if they're coming through. But the rules are you're only allowed 4 salmon, or 4 chinook each, and 4 mixed bag, or you can, it's 8 salmon total, where you can have like 8 silvers instead of 4 silvers for chinooks. It's weird, but it helps keeping their salmon population going, which is a good thing. We still ended up coming back with about 300 pounds worth of fish between chinook, coho, some rockfish, couple link cod, and so on. But compared to the last few trips, we're starting to see the average weight of Chinooks come up, which is great. But I have talked to a few people that back in the 80s, they went through a similar thing where for several years they were only catching small Chinook up there, like under 20 pounders. And this year we were about average 22 to 25. And that's including our entire group. They were about the same. But before I got sidetracked, we'll go to the story real quick. So we're fishing this spot, mostly because we weren't doing well at another spot, and then we ran in to get fuel, and then we ran over to this spot to fish. And then we were going bounce to another spot to finish off for the day. And we're kind of cruising along, and there's this little pinnacle, like where we fish at. You can be 60 feet offshore and be in like 200 plus feet of water. So you're usually like right up on the walls. You're fishing like 100 feet or less. And we kind of get pushed into the shallow area. And because on my dad's boat, we have a depth sounder on the back, so I was watching that, and I had just stepped into the cabin to grab a water, so I looked at the line he was taking on the plotter and knew we were going to shallow up. So I started bringing up my stuff, and then whoever's in the captain's seat, you try to find out who the deepest running person is on the back. And then when you get within like 10 feet of that, you call out. So let's say I'm running 70 feet, he's going to call out 80 feet. And then at 75 feet, you start going every foot. So 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, and you're constantly trying to bring your stuff up. So he's doing that. And then he goes, okay, leveling off. And at 30 feet. I'm at 25. Or so I thought. And then he goes, hey, we're going to shallow up a little bit here. So I go to pick my stuff up, and he starts calling out the numbers again. It ended up bottoming out 25 feet. So I went up to, I was going to go up to 20. And as I'm going up, I see my pole go from bent over, because we run with downriggers, so you have a little bit, you have tension to curve your pole. It goes from curved to straight. I'm like, oh great, I'm on bottom or something, or I snagged up. Oh well, I'll reel it in and reset. And as I grab the pole, it's peeling out line as fast as the boat's going forward. And about this time, a boat goes by with 2 whiskey rods off the back. Whiskey rods are usually 2 poles right off the stern gunnel. They're either running divers, or they could have a downrigger hook up. And about 90 seconds later, my line starts following that boat that went by us. I'm like, oh great, they snagged my line. I must have snagged bottom, and they hooked my line, broke me free. Okay, let's go catch up with them and try to unsnag me. And my dad had set this pole, because I took over this pole from him, so he could run the boat for a little bit and get out of the sun. So it wasn't my pole or reel. And my dad likes to set his stuff really loose, where mine, I always set mine 1 crank harder than what it takes to peel line off, or 2 cranks. So if it comes loose, all I gotta do is turn it like 2 times and I'm set. But I'm also running a completely different reel than he is on his. So I'm spinning the drag, just spinning it like, I want to say like 30 times. So I had to sneeze, so I paused the video. Where was I? Oh, crank the drag down like 30 times. Start finally getting some headway. And my dad yells at me, "You've got a fish on," because apparently this fish surfaced like 20 feet off of him and then kind of starts running. Like, I had no head shakes, nothing from this fish. As far as I knew, I hooked bottom. This other boat snagged me off the bottom. No head shakes. There was no hard run. Nothing to signify there was a fish. So I'm still cranking on the drag. And finally get to a point where I can start making headway with it. And this other boat that had kind of been a nuisance while we were out there is coming right across between me and my fish. And my buddy's yelling at him, "Hey, you're going to run over the fish, or you're going to run over line, we've got fish on," all this stuff. They aren't paying attention until I yell. And then they turned away and went back the other direction. But this lady from one of the lodges there where you can rent boats just started laying into them. Because these guys have been cutting people off all day, just being a nuisance, like getting in close, music just blaring all day, like just kind of pissing everybody off. And I already like been grumbling about them to my dad and my buddy, because I had to, like, they wouldn't get out of my way when I had the line, because you kind of do a carousel type thing, circle, and usually you all fish in one direction. These guys were doing whatever they wanted. So they were also the boat that kind of pushed us into the shallow area where this all started. Get up, getting them turn around, lady chews them out. They end up picking up and leaving. We do get the fish on board. It was about a 23 pounder, I think, 22, 23. It was one of the average fish. It wasn't a big one like my buddy's, but my buddy, when he caught the tai, when I went to net it, it gave its tail a little flick, so it threw off my aim, and I whacked the fish in the head instead. But as soon as I made contact with the fish, I immediately pulled the net out of the water. My buddy's just barking at me, like, "You better not have knocked off my fish." I'm like, "No, it's still there." We get in the boat, he's like, "God, if you knocked off my fish, I'd throw you in." And then we get to my fish. He misses the net completely on the first one. This is the fish that I've been talking about, where it made me think it was on, I was bottom and then snagged by a boat. He completely whiffed the first one, almost tangled the line. As soon as he noticed he missed, he pulled the net back. We get on the next pass. He's like, "Oh, geez. How about next time I take the pole and you net? Because you're doing better at me at netting." But here's the thing, though, with that fish. I have had something like that happen to me before, where this was a completely different trip. We're fishing another spot, like same kind of area, but different spot. And this was the worst trip we've ever had up there. We got skunked one day. We were averaging one fish a day up there. Everyone else in our group were like limiting out each day. We could not catch a thing to save our life. Not even like link cod or rockfish that are usually pretty easy to catch. And another buddy is up there with me. This is a trip we almost didn't go on because it was just going to be my dad and me. And we ended up finding a third. We almost had a fourth. The fourth guy backed out. So we're up there. But we're going across the shelf. And I see my buddy's pull go. He wasn't paying attention, so I grabbed it, set the hook. And but this fish is peeling out line as fast as the boat is moving forward. So I thinking this fish just grabbed the herring as it went by and just sat there, didn't move. And my dad's yelling at me, "No, you're on bottom, you're on bottom." I go, "No, I'm not. I can feel the head shakes." I'm like, "No, you're on bottom. There's no way that's a fish that's peeling out line that slow." And we have getting the fish. Ends up being a 45-pound chinook. We played this thing, tired it out, got it up. The thing almost didn't fit in the net. And this leads into another story that I'll tell another time about fishing, just with my dad up there, because there's some funny stories from up there. There's the year we banned him from netting, and that was the year with the 45-pound tie. There's another year where he could not put us on a fish. There's a year where every fish we caught did not fight. They either bellied up as soon as you hooked them, or they swam right to the boat. We also had to pay the tax man this year up there. We had a seal snag, probably a 25-pounder off the line up there this year. So there's lots of funny stories. Like my first year up, my dad's telling me, "Oh yeah, we're out there fishing like 30-foot seas. That's all we fishing up there." And we get up there and it's like maybe 10-foot rollers, if that, when we're out in the ocean versus inside. And well, you said we were fishing 30-foot seas. He's like, "Yeah, I know, I was just messing with you." So yeah, but there's lots of funny stories. So, and we'll get into them over some of the videos and stuff like that. And everything else. So hope you enjoy the video. Check out my buddy Crashsend on Twitch. Hopefully I can get some merch going. I'm still trying to figure out a design, that kind of stuff. And then we'll have some fun. I think maybe this winter, if people want to do something, we might do a multiplayer video game thing, probably on Farming Simulator 22, but we'll see. But yeah, we'll see you all around. Enjoy the videos and clips from this Nootka Sound trip. Yes, it is Nootka Sound. I was waiting until about this time to tell you where it was. If you follow me on Instagram, you kind of know where I was. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this past year's Nootka Sound trip video and previous years. And I'll see you all around. How's it going, everybody? Farmer Kendawg with Lando.
Yo, yo. Kirk.
Happy J and Kirk. We're out fishing Beano in Nootka Sound. And this is about the 10th time trying to record this video, because every time I try to start, we catch a fish. Whether it's a lingcod, silver king, or what we call a goldfish here. And we need to slow down one notch. So yeah, trip's going good. We've got, what, 6 kings so far? Lando?
For the trip,
Yeah.
we got, I think, 10.
10 kings. And Landon caught the 29 pounder yesterday.
Oh, dang.
And then he tried to knock off my little 18 pounder because it looked bigger, because he wanted the bigger fish. So yeah, I have a feeling once we catch 3 more silvers, we're going to go inside and try to catch a few more kings, unless we want to run out and try for some link cod, which we do have a link cod in the box, and maybe some halibut. Which we've never done well out here for.
Yeah, I love those baby fish.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, we just got a couple salmon bellies out of these fish. Got some bait.
Oh yeah, fresh bait. Well, we're on the Tater Yacht, which is Pappy J's boat. 26-foot Osprey, twin Honda 200s. And at 26 feet long, it gets down to about 6 feet long by the end of the trip, because I can't get away from Landon all day. Or Pappy J.
Right here.
I know. But Landon's driving. Kirk and Pappy J are watching the poles. I'm on the net for now until I knock off a fish, and then I'll be back in the driver's seat. Which one year that did happen with Pappy J. He knocked off about a 40 pounder and he was banned from netting the entire trip.
Never netted 1 cent.
Unless you're by yourself. Which he did on the 3-day opener we had in Washington. Which you ended up with, what, your big fish was 16, 17?
Yeah.
16, 17 pound chinook. Lando had a 19 pounder. But we're in search for the Tyee up here, which is 30 plus pounds. And we came really close yesterday to getting one. Which, in other news, Lando is in 2nd place right now on the board at the marina for biggest fish caught this year. I think it's for the year.
A year?
Yeah. So, but they're also, this is the most boats we've seen out here since we got up here on Tuesday. Also, where we're fishing at. Which we are fishing at Beano, which is one of the other spots where you can get both king, silvers. And then if you drag bottom, you can hook up a bottom fish like a link cod, rockfish, and all that. We're right around the corner of Friendly Cove where George Vancouver landed when he discovered Vancouver Island.
Coming up.
50 feet, 50 feet, 50.
This is where I caught the last one.
49 feet.